If you don't do something about your jealousy now, it's going to ruin your life. Literally every single person gets jealous, but not everyone has to let it dictate the way they think, dictate the way they treat other people, and dictate the way that they feel about themselves. It is truly that serious. No one is talking about it, and I think this is the only video that's actually going to teach you the proper way to think about jealousy. Mind you, this is coming from someone who's probably the most jealous person that I know, at least the most jealous person that I've been exposed to, and I fixed it the hard way. I had to learn it the hard way. If you're looking for a video that's going to teach you literally every single thing that's going to set you free from this trap, this mental cycle of negativity, this is the video for you. I will warn you, do not watch this video if you're not actually willing to put in the mental work that it is going to take to get better, to become the best version of yourself, and to unlock all of your potential without worrying about what other people are doing or thinking. Don't even waste your time with this video if you don't want to know how to fix it, because you are going to be equipped with all of the tools, but it's still going to be up to you. This video is going to be a wake-up call. It's not going to be fun to hear, and it's not even going to be the most fun thing for me to say, but I truly believe that this is going to be the most important video that you can watch if you're a young woman struggling with jealousy, which is pretty much all of us. Welcome to Too Much. This is my confessional and reflective video podcast talking about all things being too jealous, too opinionated, too caring, too thoughtful, too emotional, too romantic, too hard to love, all of the things that I grew up being told about me or having to feel like I was because other people treated me like I was too much. My name is Emma Grace, and I'm your hostess. If you like what you see here today, make sure to check me out on all of my other platforms. You can find me here. And without further ado, let's get into the video. For those of you who are recurring viewers, we know we have to have a coffee break. This is a honey cookie butter latte. It's really good. I made it with a vanilla espresso shot, so it's also kind of a vanilla profile. It's delicious. It's probably the most summery latte I've ever had, to be honest with you. Grab your coffee, grab your matcha, grab a snack, and please put on your listening ears. I'm not saying this because I want to break you down. I'm saying this because I want to build you up. I'm saying this because if someone told me this when I was 13, 15, 17, 20, I would have not had to learn it the hard way and gone through as much as I possibly did. And the worst part about this specific message is only a fraction of women know this, and only a fraction of women come to understand this. And if you're one of those women who can unlock this mindset, you are going to be so far ahead of everybody else, it's not even funny. The first thing that I want to get into is that literally every single human being, man or woman, old or young, whoever, is jealous. We all have a biological predisposition towards jealousy. Does that make it okay? I wouldn't say so, but it makes it normal, and that's relieving. It should be relieving. It should be a comfort to you that everything that you're feeling has already been felt by other people before, and that you're not weird or abnormal. In fact, you're actually following your biological nature that you should be following, and that is meant to keep you alive. So I want to put a pin in this. I want you to understand that jealousy is biological, which means it has an advantage. It has a purpose. It has a productive process for your life, but oftentimes, especially in 2026, we don't use it for that. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but I want to really drive the point home that jealousy is simply just a product of your biology. You're supposed to feel jealousy. You're supposed to have the capacity for jealousy. Whoever you are watching this, I guarantee you've been jealous in the last week. I don't want to come at this topic like I'm separated from it. If anything, I was the most destructive, jealous person that I knew. Obviously, people don't talk about jealousy as much as other negative emotions and other things that they feel during development and adulthood, or even in childhood, because it's kind of embarrassing to admit that you're jealous, because again, it implies that you lack something. So I feel like maybe it's because I haven't been exposed to other people's levels of jealousy, but I truly do think I was probably the most jealous person I know, and it probably had the most destructive consequences. So this is not a video where I'm talking from a place that I don't know, or I'm looking down on this, or I feel like I have always had this advantage. I worked hard to get where I am, and I don't want you to work as hard. I don't. But I do want you to know that jealousy is something that you're designed to feel. So what purpose does it serve then? If you're going to follow this logic that it's like our nature, right, to become jealous of things, what is jealousy? What purpose does that serve? Jealousy is a reaction to a perceived threat to a relationship or resource. Jealousy is you perceiving a threat to a relationship in your life or a resource in your life. That is it. That is all jealousy is. So for example, when you're jealous of a girl because your crush is giving her attention, you are jealous of her because you perceive her existence and his attention to her as a threat to your relationship with him. And if we think about that in biology, right, like that makes sense. Like we're supposed to couple up, we're supposed to make more humans, things like that. So when you think about jealousy in these terms, it normalizes it to the point where it becomes a system. It becomes a predictable pattern. It becomes something that you can identify a cause and you can identify an effect, and that is the root of the strength that you are going to use to move past the toxic side effects of jealousy. I don't think that jealousy is inherently the biggest issue here. I think it's the way we handle it. And one thing that helped me tremendously was realizing that jealousy is not random, it is not useless, it is not a real reflection of what's going on around me, it's just my perception to a threat of some kind. And mind you, it's perfectly okay to feel this way. It's perfectly normal to feel this way. Everybody feels this way. So not only do I think that people are born like this, but I also think that social media is doing a really horrible job at helping us be equipped with the tools that we need to move through life with our jealous nature in mind. I don't think that social media is helping us. I think it's actually working against a lot of us, especially young women, because social media gives us an entirely new library of different kinds of reasons to be jealous or figures to be jealous of or things to be jealous about. Like, I didn't know what a hip dip was until I was scrolling on my For You page. And because of that, then I became jealous of women who had very hidden hip dips. Like, they didn't have very pronounced hip dips, and I don't even think that my body is like looking back on that, when I'm thinking about when I was in middle school and I realized what that was, or whenever I was looking at cantle tilts, just the dumbest things, all of these TikTok trends of things to be insecure about. I didn't know about any of that until social media. So even though I was experiencing jealousy in other areas, I wasn't experiencing jealousy about all of these things that I didn't even know existed until then. So I think that social media has done a really great job of making us a lot more toxic in the way and the frequency that we experience jealousy. It's like a hyper-exposed, infinitely expanding space for comparison to thrive. I would almost argue that that's the point. The point of a lot of social media is, rather than aspirational between people, I think it's a lot more, it's kind of like jealousy baiting. It's like comparison baiting. I would not be exposed to as many people's financial situations or bodies or relationships or personalities if it weren't for social media. And because I have that at my fingertips all the time, basically every time I open my phone, I get the opportunity to be jealous of people I know and people I don't know. I would never even know how thin and fit and beautiful and talented as a dancer Charli D'Amelio was if it weren't for TikTok. And I would also never know about my friends leaving me out all the time without the weekly photo dumps on Instagram feed. I would not even have the access to have material to be jealous of without social media. So while I do think half of this is that we're born with this biological predisposition, I want to also drive the point home that social media makes it worse for everyone. And the third thing that makes a lot of people jealous is, honestly, I do think, being a woman. In today's world, women's looks matter so much more than men's looks, and looks and appearances are so easy to be jealous of because oftentimes they are valued so highly between us, and we get compared by other people. We compare ourselves, we compare each other, men compare us. We are always being judged based on how we look, how we present ourselves, things like that. And I think that being a woman in 2026 makes you just simply more exposed to feelings of jealousy that we naturally would not be as exposed to because of the cultural pressures that we face to be pretty, to be funny, to be cheery, to be basically just bubbly all the time. I think it's really easy for women especially to feel jealousy and not be able to handle it in the same way that men can, because when a man is jealous, he's seen as strong. When a man is jealous, he's seen as competitive and territorial and feisty and powerful. But when a woman is seen as jealous, she gets called terms like petty or catty or bitchy. Women are both encouraged more to be jealous of one another while also discouraged more to alleviate the jealousies in the same way or to be as open about it. So I think that women are put in this perfect storm situation of we are both judged higher for the way we look, but we're also punished harder for feeling the jealousy that we are systematically designed to feel in a culture where our looks are the most important thing about us. Obviously, you can be jealous about all kinds of things, and a lot of traits are worthy of admiration and desire. I am jealous of so many women for how smart they are, how powerful they are, how great leaders they are, how amazing they are as people. Of course those things are true, but I do just want to say, it is so much easier to be jealous of somebody's looks than it is to be anything else because we're visual people, we're visual creatures, we just get to look at each other. I don't have to know anybody's personality to be jealous of how they look. It's true. And also there's no men who are saying stuff like, oh wow, she knows so much more about math than you, what a loser. No one's saying that. Nobody's saying that. But people are in my TikTok comments saying, wow, you're fat. Oh. Okay. Oh. Right. Which that's insane. So I think that the three things that make girls like me specifically so jealous is, We're meant to feel that way biologically. Social media is not helping, and neither is the cultural pressures that we face and the limitations that we face regarding how to alleviate these feelings. We just feel like we have to bottle them up, and without the proper coping mechanisms to deal with these feelings, we are set up to fail. We're set up to be toxic about the way we interact with jealousy. Let's dive more into how jealousy affects us and what it functions as in our life. So that perceived threat that you are looking at, that you think is going to affect a relationship that you have or a resource that you have access to, I would like to propose my own definition of jealousy and how it functions in my life. To me, jealousy acts as an indicator of something that I want and cannot have. So let me give you an example. My best friend really, really loves to crochet. She's extremely talented. She makes beautiful pieces of art. She's very crafty. She's very resourceful. If I were jealous of her crocheting ability, the only thing I would reasonably do is go learn how to crochet. Because I know that I'm smart, I know that I'm capable, I know that I could get access to those resources, I know that I would be able to eventually learn. So let's just say I desired the trait that she had to crochet, and I wanted to also possess that trait or skill. I would just go learn that skill. Then that wouldn't really even be jealousy. I would like to say that jealousy is the friction between something you want and the fact that you can't get it. I would never have to be jealous of my best friend's ability to crochet because I know I could probably learn how to do that if I gave myself the time and resources and energy to do that. Something else about my best friend that I am jealous of is she is a homeowner with a full-time job. If I were going to look at that in the typical way that I look at jealousy, right? What I would do is act out in a multitude of ways. We're going to get into the specific things that we do when we are toxic about our jealousy, but because I know that I have no financial resources for that, I have not graduated college like she has, I do not have a partner supporting me like she does, all of these things about her life that do not apply to mine, I know that right now it's impossible for me to become a homeowner with a full-time job. Am I jealous of that? Of course. It hurts, obviously, to see something that I want for myself and know it's not possible. Another example that I feel constantly is when I see beautiful women, when I see thin, fit, athletic, effortless women. Something that I have always been, I guess, prone to feeling about women who are beautiful is completely and totally jealous of them. I felt this way since I was a little girl. Like, I remember my first memory of being jealous of another girl was when I was in kindergarten. I explicitly remember this one girl was super pretty and I felt like I was like a toothless, ugly lump. And I truly remember like feeling so inferior because of it, because I knew that I would never look like her. So I wanted to, but I never could because genetics. So that is where the jealousy existed. That's the space that the jealousy thrived in. So instead of going after what you want because of practicality, like genetics, or insecurity, like maybe I did believe I would never be able to learn how to crochet, I don't know, you don't get what you want, so you do other things to discredit the jealousy itself, the object of your jealousy. I don't want to get so convoluted. I feel like I'm talking a little bit like kind of just in like Never Never Land. I don't mean to. I want to bring this down to real world examples as much as I can. But the problem with jealousy is that when you are in this space, you think to yourself, I will never have that. Now, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. Maybe genetics are always going to betray you when it comes to what you wish you looked like, and that sucks. But maybe you're just insecure. There could be tons of reasons. We're going to dive into that a little bit more later. But jealousy basically is an indicator of something you want that you cannot currently have, either out of practicality or insecurity. And so the way that we mediate this is by convincing ourselves that the object of jealousy that we have is either underqualified or undeserving of the trait that we're jealous of. So for example, when I look at a thin, seemingly effortlessly so woman who has always been 5'2" and 120 pounds, obviously that's not me. And I personally am jealous of it. Like, I don't look down on any body type. I've been heavier ever since I was done with puberty, but I do have a lot of body image issues, and I know my life would be a lot easier if I didn't have to think that way, and I know that my weight has always bothered me. So when I look at these women who just simply have better metabolisms or smaller appetites or whatever it is, I am jealous because I know I'm not going to have that thing eventually, or I'm going to at a very significant cost and effort to lose weight, and even then I might never get there. So what my brain used to do when I was not equipped with the tools to advance my jealousy properly, and I was being toxic because I didn't know what else to do, is I would say things in my head like, well, nobody likes her anyway. Well, she's a brat anyway. Well, her personality is boring anyway. Like, she sucks anyway. I would discredit her as undeserving. I would target her instead of look inward. I always looked outside of myself when I was toxic about my jealousy. I never looked inside. I would always say things in my head like, well, she's a brat. Like, nobody likes her. She treats people, like, terribly. Like, I would even think things that were as bad as, well, her face isn't even that pretty. Or, like, her personality is terrible. Like, I would think the meanest things that I could think because my brain was grasping at straws to convince myself that the object of jealousy itself canceled out the thing I was jealous of. So I would project all of these ideas that I had onto her, which probably didn't have any truth to them, to be honest with you, as a way to eliminate my own feeling of jealousy and to coddle myself in the feelings that I was feeling. The other thing I would do is I would be like, well, her metabolism is just higher, so she has genetics that are better than mine. Or, well, I bet she eats literally nothing. Things like that. Like, I would say things that would underqualify the thing that she had, right? So another thing that I'm always jealous of is people who are really well liked. If you know me in person, you know that basically 50% of the people that meet me love me and the other 50% hate me with a burning passion. I do not know why. That is why I have this podcast. I feel like I'm too much for people, whatever. But I've always been very jealous of the people who are well liked in every space, who get waved at all over their college campuses, things like that. So instead, I'll be like, well, her personality is so bland, that's why everyone can agree with her. That underqualifies the accomplishment that is having a social life where everyone is happy with you. Or I would convince myself that they were undeserving. Well, nobody knows who she really is. I'm the only one who sees her for who she really is. Really? Really? Her closest friends don't know her as well as I do, who's an onlooker perceiving this girl. Really? Like, are we kidding? As I'm saying this out loud, you should be looking at me like that's ridiculous. If you feel any of these things, we should have a light bulb moment right now of that's ridiculous, because it is ridiculous. The toxic way to handle jealousy is by convincing yourself that the object of your jealousy is underqualified or undeserving, when in reality, you just know, either through practicality or think through insecurity, that you can never have the thing you're jealous of. Whether that's a trait or an object or a relationship or a resource or whatever it is, instead of you just going out and getting that thing for whatever reason, you convince yourself that the person who possesses that thing is underqualified or undeserving. Our case studies are going to paint this picture a lot clearer later in the video, and again, I'm so glad that you're still here. This is a super important topic to me. I've never really made like a lecture type video, so if you like this kind of content, please hit me with a thumbs up. Please comment something in the comments. I check all my comments, of course, so that would be really helpful for me. And if you do like this video, please like and subscribe. It kind of just like lets me know that the community is growing and that I'm going in the right direction with YouTube. So thank you so much for your time already. Again, I will warn you, this going against the grain of jealousy is so hard to do at first. You have to put in so much mental energy and mental effort to be as intentional as possible. So truly, I hope that you're willing to take on this mission because it's so worth it. But it is going to take a lot of your effort. If you need a bit of convincing to start going on this mental reset of jealousy, then you need to understand why it's worth it to do so. Jealousy is so terrible when you let it be terrible. Jealousy is oftentimes something that works against you in so many seen and unseen ways. Like, you have to start taking control of the way that you feel jealousy because it is going to ruin your life. It's going to. Jealousy requires you to assume that you're unworthy. It requires you to. If you were jealous of something and you knew you could go get it, you'd just go get it. But instead, again, practicality, insecurity, whatever, it convinces you that you're unworthy and you're simply just not. You simply just not. Either you're not meant to have something or you could just go get it. You could try. You could refocus all of the energy that it's taking into insulting the person that you're jealous of and put it into your own life. And it would be so much more advantageous and powerful to you. I'm so serious. I think so many young girls waste potential, waste their personalities, waste themselves on worrying about what other people are doing and thinking, and worrying about what other people have that they don't. Jealousy trains your mind to see objects of admiration as threats. Objects of desire as threats. Instead of looking at something or a relationship or someone that you admire as a goal, your jealousy trains you to look at them as a threat. When you get into the headspace of seeing other women or traits that other women have as threats instead of role models or goals or inspiration, your entire life changes for the worse. An internalized belief that other women are better than you and you're unworthy of things will lead you down a path that is not satisfactory. It's so bad. It's so toxic for you. Like, if I could stress one point in this whole video, letting this run its course taking jealousy with the grain of toxicity is going to ruin your life. You will forever be mentally trained and prone to overlooking possibilities of community in favor of competition. Instead of seeing women as potential friends that you can build respectable, admirable relationships with, you are forever going to see them as threats and competition. That takes a humongous toll on you. That takes a huge toll on other people. It's wrong to go through life thinking that way of people. Also, when you're just in the headspace of toxic jealousy, it's also like toxic rumination. When I was at this in full swing, when my jealousy was at its final toxic form, I ruminated on this probably 23 hours a day. Like, genuinely, there were dreams that I had which indicated I was jealous. I would think things of people that I called my friends that were just horrible to think. I thought things of strangers, women I knew nothing about, women whose stories I wasn't even close to familiar with. I thought the worst things all the time. I ruminated on all these thoughts. I also ruminated on the thoughts that I was unworthy, undeserving, never going to get something, not worthy of something because I was just either prone to bad luck or the universe, the cosmos didn't think I was deserving of it or whatever it was. Like, the toxic rumination will take up so much of your time and energy. It's also life ruining on its own. Your significantly damaged self-esteem or understanding of what you're capable/incapable of is also going to completely hinder your ability to move through life as a productive human being. When you let yourself be as jealous as your brain wants you to be, you will ruin your life. I don't know about you, but I also built a huge pile of resentment towards myself and shame towards myself because I was a little bit self-aware this whole time that what I was feeling was probably jealousy. I just didn't want to do the work to get rid of how toxic that was and admit that maybe this can serve a productive function. So instead of doing what an adult would do, mind you, I was 16 for a lot of this, but instead of doing what a healthy human being would do, instead of doing what I was capable of always realizing and putting in the hard work to get there, I just felt the shame. I felt resentment to myself. I was like, why am I letting myself feel this way? Why am I so gross for feeling this way? And to this day, I feel a little bit of shame because I do think I was such a jealous person. I do know that I let all of these things dictate how I treated other people, and they fundamentally disagreed with my character. I have never once thought it was okay to just judge every book by its cover, and yet I did. And I resented myself for that. I felt shame for that. I feel shame for that even right now talking about this with you guys, but this is so serious. And I think that mutual vulnerability is truly a catalyst for change in people's lives. Like, I think that me talking about this or you hearing other people talk about this, other women who have gone through this, I think that's going to change something for you, and I hope that this video is worth it to you. Another thing that toxic jealousy does that is chronically ongoing is it makes you have such a weird attentional bias. Like, one day you might not even see any of the good things about yourself. One day you might literally only see the things that you lack when you look in the mirror. You might only see the things that you hate about yourself. You might never be able to actually understand how amazing of a person you are. You might never see the specific beauty in your side profile because you're so worried about Kylie Jenner's. You might never see the very, very specific and unique parts of your personality that make you attentive or caring or kind just because some other girl in your class is funnier than you or more well-liked than you or just simply perceived to be that way. You might get to a point where your attentional bias towards your own self-image is so destructive that you can't even recognize the good parts of yourself, and you are the only person you're going to be around your whole life. The only person that you're going to spend every single day with is you. You should like you. How can you do that if you're constantly focused on jealousy? If you're constantly letting your jealousy get in the way of yourself? How can you do that? And I can say from complete and total experience, I couldn't do that whenever I was jealous to the point where I was toxic and ruminating on it all the time. I could never love myself. I could never get to a point where I was like, you know what, maybe I am cool. Maybe I don't need to be 110 pounds to be loved by the people who I want to love me. Maybe I don't need to be the funniest girl in the room everywhere I go, which I kind of am. But maybe I don't need to be. Maybe it's okay if I'm not the smartest girl ever. Maybe it's okay if I don't have a 36 on the ACT. Whatever it is. Maybe it's okay if the least favorite girl in existence gets a better grade on a test in one of my college classes. Like, it's so silly to let yourself stay in jealousy simply because you've got no choice but to hate yourself. At the end of that road, it's a very lonely road. It's a very horrible road. And at the end of it, the destination is permanent self-loathing. Don't go down that road. turn around. It is so hard to commit to not being a jealous person to the point where you are so mentally toxic to yourself and everybody else. It requires you to admit to a level of wrongdoing that is shameful and hard to do, and it's so hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've been making a mistake, but if you don't do it, you're going down a road that no one needs to go down, and it's a waste. It is a waste of your life. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of everybody else around you. And it's a waste of you. It's a waste of all of your good qualities. Because something else I want to say, this is not in my script, but I guarantee you other girls are jealous of you. I guarantee you that you possess multiple traits, multiple relationships, multiple resources, and either, if not now, you will in your life, that other women look at and envy. And that's not me telling you that to flex. That's me telling you because you need to put on this mentality, these glasses of what about me is great instead of what about me sucks. You need to be able to look at yourself and say, with a constructive kind of criticism, with a healthy, loving, rooted in the desire to improve kind of criticism that says, what things can I work on? And also love, adoration, simple love and adoration. I love how funny I am. I do. I make myself laugh constantly. I make other people laugh constantly. I love how I have so many friends who come to me when they're having a bad day because they know that I will listen and care and think about them and feel for them and be empathetic with them more than any other person in their life. Do I love how I have a really, really bad attitude sometimes? No. But I don't hate myself for it. I just know I need to work on it. Do I love how sometimes I am a little bit hypocritical because when I have shortcomings, I give myself the benefit of the doubt, but then everybody else is like doing it to me and I'm like, I take everything so personal. No, I don't like that about myself, but I don't hate myself for it. And I'm committed to working on it. That's the difference. That is the difference. You have to let your jealousy go because you will be committed to hating yourself forever, and you will absolutely guaranteed have chronic friendship issues with women, and it will likely bleed into other areas of your life. Your career, your romantic relationships, your family relationships, literally everything. So now let's get into my actual top strategies for ridding yourself of the toxicity from jealousy. Again, we're not getting rid of jealousy. We never will. You will always be jealous. But when I say get rid of it, I'm talking about get rid of the ways that it's toxic in your life, get rid of the negative purposes that it serves, get rid of the way that you're allowing it to put you in a cycle of self-loathing and bitterness towards other women at the same time. Get rid of all of the negative side effects, okay? I have 4 strategies, and I do believe with my whole heart that if you commit to these, you're going to go down this path in a much happier, much better, much healthier way, where you're going to end up in a place where you can accept yourself and everybody else. The first thing that I needed to realize is that some things are just luck. Some things are just chance. Maybe my metabolism was always gonna go to crap as soon as I turned 18. Maybe this other girl that I'm thinking of in my head, her metabolism's gonna be great her whole life. Maybe my appetite is rapidly expanding. Maybe that's just chance. I don't know. But I do not need to get so hung up about things that are truly out of my control and also out of their control. They're not doing it to me. They're not having this quality. They're not having this relationship to me. Also, I know I possess a good amount of enviable qualities from chance as well. So instead of just thinking about what luck or chance or the universe didn't give me, I like to instead think about things that I have been given that are completely out of my control. For some reason, I am a very talented artist. I'm very good at doing things creatively. I do my own nails. These were my 4th of July nails. It's not focusing because I locked it on my face. Because also I've been having a lot of focusing issues with my camera. Hello? I'm trying, guys. Okay, whatever. You can see it. But I'm really good at art. I'm really good at creative things. I'm really good at writing. I always have been. And I know that about myself. And that's not something that I think was a skill that would be where it was if I wasn't born with a lot of that. Obviously I've honed in specific techniques, specific skills, things like that, but me just being such a creative person is something that I do think was given to me by just the luck of genetics or something. Also, I get told all the time that my eyes are very pretty. I didn't do anything about that. I don't use lash serum. Also, if you're curious about my mascara routine, I'll link my tutorial in the description. It's on TikTok. You can watch it. I don't gatekeep a single thing, but I don't need lash serum. I have pretty long eyelashes and my eyes are pretty, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people would wish that they could feel that happy about their eyes. Obviously, there are parts of my face that I don't like. There are insecurities I have about my personality that I don't like, and I do envy other people for it. But my personality, my looks, my existence has been touched with good luck in a lot of different areas, and I guarantee yours has too. Maybe you were given this beautiful sense of reading people. Maybe you were given an insane face card. Maybe you were given the prettiest figure. Maybe you were given great dance skills. I don't know. Like, you're given something. So when you're looking at someone and you're jealous of them because they have something that you don't, strictly out of everyone's control, just try to think about the things that you have that are out of your control, that you're grateful for, that you're happy that you have, that make you feel more like you. I think one of the biggest things I had to understand about how toxic jealousy was is that a lot of these traits or relationships were too difficult for my brain to comprehend me ever deserving or being capable of achieving. And so the only thing I could do was smear the image of the girl who had those things. For example, maybe the girl who has a perfect body is actually a hard worker, and she takes care of herself, and she eats right, and she goes to the gym, and even if her genetics help her with some of that, maybe that has been significantly advanced in her life because she puts in the work. So I don't need to mentally call her a brat or a loser or boring or whatever, because maybe she actually has been putting in the work, and my brain can't see me as a person ever putting in that kind of work, ever being that dedicated, ever taking that chance and risking failure. So instead of me admitting that I'm not confident enough or bold enough or risky enough to risk failing and risk trying to get something and realizing after I put in all the effort that I'm still not going to get there, instead of doing that, I just smear her image in my head. And that's what people do all the time. I have had a lot of my outer circle friends do that to me about content creation. For those of you that don't know, I have over 200,000 followers on TikTok, and I have had so many people be really condescending and indicate to me that they think for some reason I'm undeserving. They don't see the hours that I stay awake, coming up with video ideas, editing, talking to my people that I trust about what I should be posting, looking at my analytics, figuring out ways to monetize so I can keep doing this. They don't see all the notes that I take. They don't see all the ideas that I have. They don't see all the things that don't make it. They don't see any of that. They don't see how hard I try. They don't see the tears. They don't see the joy. They don't see any of it because they're not exposed to it. But in their heads, they can't comprehend themselves ever having a big platform or ever trying to and then not actually getting online attention. So they just think that I'm a bitch. They think that I'm a jerk. They think that I'm a brat. They think that I'm undeserving, things like that. They smear their image of me instead of going out on a limb and risking failure and risking not being good enough. Instead of putting themselves in a position to feel like they're not good enough, they turn me into someone who's not good enough. And I've done the same thing to other people, like I said. Okay, the third thing that is honestly the easiest thing to internalize, the easiest checkpoint to add into your routine of eliminating toxic jealousy is realize that some things just aren't worth being jealous of. For example, if you hate a girl because your crush is giving her attention, why do you care so much about a man? Why do you care? He clearly is not your person, so why do you care? Not that this is instead a man's fault instead of yours, this is your fault for having toxic jealousy, but the thing that you're jealous of isn't worth it anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? And something that I've noticed a lot is I don't think bodies are worthy of being jealous. I can admit that. I intellectually believe that, but practically my emotions betray that often. But I can admit being worried about how somebody else's thigh gap looks is dumb. It's a bad use of my mental time. It's a bad use of my energy. It's stupid. I would argue that at least 60% of the things, if not more, that you're jealous of are dumb. And to me, that was refreshing because once I realized it, I was like, oh. And then I kind of just moved on. I do think I moved on. Obviously, me being jealous of my best friend being a homeowner is a good thing. I should want to be a homeowner someday. That's not stupid. But me being jealous of some girl in my class always getting the right answer when she raises her hand, that's dumb. That is so dumb. And yes, I am dumb enough to be jealous of stuff like that. I have a guinea pig brain or something because truly a lot, at least for me, 60% of the things that I was jealous of and continue to let myself feel jealousy for is stupid. And I just need that reality check. And then I think the fourth thing that I want you to realize when you're eliminating this is that it's going to take time. It is. I came to these realizations before I got into college, actually. I came to these realizations in high school. I think it's because I'm a people watcher and I notice patterns, and I notice patterns between me and my friends and the language that we use to talk about other people. I have always been prone to pattern recognition. And when I put these pieces together, it seemed obvious. It seemed why doesn't everybody realize this? But What you need to realize, especially if you're a young woman watching this, is most women will never get to a place where they understand this. They will never get to this concept on their own. They're never going to get to this concept because they don't want to. It's so much easier to hate other people for the things that you're not doing or the things that you do not have. It is so much easier. It is the lowest hanging fruit. It is the easiest, into the grain way to think about other people. And so many people don't realize it because it's hard to. It is hard to commit to this. It is hard to feel worthy in the face of insecurity. It's hard. And it's also going to be time consuming. But here's the thing. Every single time you catch yourself doing this, you can backtrack. If it's just you in your head, you can backtrack. There's no shame in that. No one can judge you because it's in your own head. Let's just say I was jealous of this girl in a relationship. Let's say I was single and I was jealous of a girl in a relationship and I looked at her and I'm like, oh my God, I bet she's a in my head, I'd be thinking, why is the universe giving her a great boyfriend when she doesn't even seem like that good of a person? Obviously, I cannot make that judgment call based on her personality. But if I wanted to go about this in a committed to not being toxic about my jealousy kind of way, the thing I would think after that is, wait a minute, I don't know everything about this girl. Maybe she has a great personality. Maybe she has a soft spot for him. Maybe she's a committed girlfriend. Maybe she has exhibited sacrifices that I just haven't had the opportunity to do that. Maybe their personalities are perfect for each other. So I would immediately stop discrediting her. Then I could say, I don't know everything about her relationship. Maybe their Instagram is perfect, but maybe I shouldn't be jealous of their relationship because it's not really what it seems. You never know. I'd be thinking I don't know why I don't have a boyfriend. Maybe it's not the right time for me. Or maybe the best guy for me is right around the corner. Or maybe I have things to work on that I should be single for. You know what I mean? You have to start thinking, is this girl that you're jealous of for some reason really a bitch? No. Is she really stupid? No. Is she really a bad person? No. Most of the time, these people that you are jealous of are not actually as bad as you're making them out to be in your head. I will say I've been around a lot of people who are actual bad people that I have had envy of. So for those weird situations where you're jealous of someone who also sucks, that's a whole different story, but you still shouldn't be jealous of them. And this kind of leaves me to feel confident in the people that I dislike them for good reasons. I don't dislike them because I wish I had their style. I don't dislike them because they grew up in the nicest neighborhood in town. I might dislike these people because they're rude, and that's good. You're never going to catch me saying that being a hater is a bad thing because healthy pessimism is a good thing. And discerning people quite strongly and running a strict program in who I invite into my life has done nothing but serve me. So I do still dislike women, specific ones, obviously not women as a whole. Otherwise, why would I be doing this? I still dislike very specific women very strongly, but that's because they have earned those feelings from my end. I have seen them do disgusting things, rude things, evil things, cruel things. It's not because I'm jealous, which being jealous of someone and disliking them for that is the dumbest waste of your time. It's the stupidest use of disliking someone. Now I get to be a hater for good reasons. So let's talk about the case studies. I saved these for last. I usually don't, but I just wanted to because if you don't know these pop culture references, then you can just click off the video. I wanted to save your time. But the first thing that I could think of is Carrie Bradshaw. I could only really think of Carrie Bradshaw. And I know there's a lot of examples, but do you honestly think that she would hate Natasha or that Nina Katz girl if it weren't for Big and Aiden? No. Literally no. No. She hated these two women in the show because they were exes of the men that she was super into and super interested in. Obviously that's jealousy. I don't know what else there is to say about that. It's just pathetic. Also, off the top of my head right now, I am thinking of Serena and Blair's relationship with each other from Gossip Girl. A lot of the things, I think it's mutual. A lot of people think that Blair's the more jealous one. I'm not so sure about that, but also I pay really close attention to shows like that, but I don't know, that might be a personal take of mine. I think they interact with each other with a lot of jealousy. I think that the only reason that Serena ever got with Nate was because she was jealous of Blair. I think the only reason Blair ever got with Dan was because she was jealous of Serena. I think they do a lot of things in that show that are just simply jealousy and proving to themselves that the other person is not worthy, or that they themselves are not undeserving in any way compared to the other person. I don't know. And then also the last thing I'm thinking of is Cassie from Euphoria. The only reason she ended up with Nate is because she was jealous of Maddie. She did not actually like Nate. You will never convince me that she actually liked Nate. Obviously all of my case studies are kind of subjective to my perception of, film and TV and pop culture and everything, but truly, I don't think any of these women do any of these things because they actually want to. I think they're doing it because they're jealous, and like that's a terrible motivator. Like that is such a waste of their time. Okay, you have made it to the end of the video. We're gonna do a catch-up session. I usually also put this in the beginning of the video, but I am trying to test things out for a bit of better retention on my end. So simply for engagement purposes, if this goes better than it normally does, I'm gonna keep this at the end of the video. But yeah, I'm redoing my room, if you can't tell. I only have these like pink lights on in the background because I don't have any decorations. I don't know how my studio is going to look, and also like I'm moving back to college for a year in August. So I don't really know what to do. I'm really nervous about it. I have been really like shopping. I've been really looking at things. I've been really thinking about things, and like I don't know how to design the back of my room. I do have a couple things that I'm really excited about that should be available in next video, but I am hoping to make it cute enough and like aesthetic enough so that people will like love. And yeah, I'm really happy about that. I did paint my room myself with the help of my boyfriend, so that was kind of a slay because I feel like we did a really good job. As far as everything else goes, I'm doing pretty well. The LSAT's still kicking my butt. I did take last week off because that's the room renovation thing. Like I did not want to film in a room where it smelled like active paint fumes and there was like primer on my wall and it looked terrible. Also, my desk was not in here, so what you're sitting on did not exist. The floor was basically lava last week. I really couldn't do anything about that. But yeah, I am really happy to see you. I hope you're doing amazing. I hope you're doing fantastic. And I do hope that this video, you can tell, is rooted in just me wanting the best for you. Like, I know that everyone watching this is jealous of someone or something, but we don't have to let it suck so bad. We really don't. We have a choice every time. We can do the right thing every time. We're powerful. And doing this has genuinely set me free from so many different things. Like, I no longer move through life seeing other women as a threat, and I attract what I put out. I attract the mutual respect that I'm able to offer a significantly higher amount of women now. It's crazy. And what also bothers me is it's true, like, there's a lot of women who, like, don't realize this ever. They just waste their life thinking this way and doing these things, and that is scary. But yeah, if you like this video and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. That means so much to me. It goes so far for the algorithm. Also, like this video, comment. I read all of my comments. Give me a story time. Like, I want the tea. If you relate, I want the tea. If you have advice, drop it down below, all of the things. I will see you next week, and as always, I love you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. Like, seriously, the best day possible. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye!